A lot of retail stocks on the move today. Nordstrom and Gap are down double digits after earnings. Nordstrom on pace for its worst day ever. John, over to you. I know you own both of these stocks.
Yeah, well, I don't own Nordstrom, Frank, but I did own Gap, and that was just a, just a wipeout. I should have been a little more disciplined in Gap. I noticed, Frank, that they're going to be closing a lot of stores. Closing the Gap and Banana Republic stores and basically going over to their more profitable line, Athleta and Old Navy. So I think that's a good move. I noticed that they're virtually balanced. They're going to close about 75 stores. They're going to open about 75 of those others that I named. And I imagine they're just flipping the leases then, Frank. So I think that's better use of the space and their capital. As far as Nordstrom, man, that was a terrible report. They're going to have to spend a lot more on digital, and they're not getting people into the stores for those Nordstrom Rack. They're, more or less competitor to TJ Maxx, right. But it's an internal competitor. It's not quite the same at all because they make the clothes that they're going to sell at that competitor to TJ Maxx, whereas TJ Maxx doesn't make the clothes. They just buy the excess inventories. I think that's a much better business, Frank. So that's one of the reasons, among many, why I don't own Nordstrom anymore.
Hey, Joe, turning over to you. You own TJX. What's your take on retail right now as we head into the holiday season?
My take on TJX is I bought it a little bit too high, but I'm good with it. I agree completely, as I usually do, with my good friend John's comments. TJX, I think, is in a position to continue to capture market share. Off-price apparel, they certainly have the inventory levels in place to service the needs of their customers. So a little bit of a pullback post-earnings. I bought it the day after earnings. As I said, a little bit higher than I would have liked. But I believe in buying high and selling higher, and I think that strategy is going to prove correct. Ultimately, TJX is a stock that will push well into the 80s.
So, Weiss, what's your take on retail? Number one, we know you hate khaki, so Gap's out. But on a serious note, I know you're shorting Macy's, but you also own Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah, and by the way, Jim hasn't bought a pair of khakis in probably 3 decades. He's still got 5 pleats on each side. So, look, I'm surprised at the carnage that we're seeing in Nordstrom. Right, well, correct, chinos. I'm surprised at the carnage we're seeing in both Gap and Nordstrom. They're not going out of business. They're trading like that, going out of business sales. I'm surprised what's happened with Dick's, which blew it out on all metrics and raised. So there's not a lot of rational investing going in here. I shorted Macy's on the Nordstrom print last night, up about 6% in the trade, shorted a little more this morning because couldn't get enough after the market. I definitely will cover it, maybe even during the show today. But I think it's those that can execute well are going to succeed. Unfortunately, you don't know until after they report and tell you what they did. So you have to be prepared to own these, the solid ones, the ones where you like management, where you like what their offering is, and where they are making inroads online. Dick's was up 100% year over year, and stay with them through this. This is noise. However, this quarter is where they do 75% of their revenue. So it's very important what happens between now and the beginning of the year.